Do good, Maverico here. Welcome to podcast episode number 58. Want to escape the Matrix? Well, if you want to escape the Matrix, there are there are a lot of people these days online talking about escaping the Matrix, what you might call the 9 to 5 or the rat race, stuff like that. I guess there are different ways people look at what they define as the Matrix, but in many ways, I think a lot of them think that a lot of them, when they talk about the Matrix, is basically yeah, being trapped inside the 9 to 5 rat race, where you kind of find yourself trapped in a cycle of having a lot of debt, a lot of loans, mortgages, stuff like that you have to pay off, and having to go to one or more jobs as an employee, oftentimes jobs you don't like, with maybe also with people that you don't like. And for many people, it's not just 8 hours a day, but a lot more than that. So yeah, if that's the Matrix, it might be a good nickname for it, kind of. When you look at the movie The Matrix, what Morpheus explained the Matrix as was he explained it different ways, but a computer-generated dream world. So are we living in a computer-generated dream world? No, absolutely not. But maybe we are living in a propaganda-generated dream world, or a propaganda and indoctrination generated dream world, where there is a lot of propaganda from the news, the mass media, and the school system that is telling us a bunch of things that we think is true, and then a lot of people believes it to be true, and those people keep telling it to other people, and before we know it, we live in a kind of a situation where there is a lot of assumptions and so-called established truths that are not actually truths, but we have heard them repeated so many times over and over again, that now we think it is the truth, but it's not. And a lot of those things are happening in the rat race as well. You know, you go to school from you're like 6 years old to 16, primary school, and from almost from the very first day, you keep hearing, "Oh, you need to get good grades so that you can get into the right schools, so that you can get a good education and a safe and secure job with good benefits." Okay, so I need to have good grades so that I can have a good education that I also need to have in order to get a job. And a lot of students are funneled into extra education after primary school. These days, it seems like there is almost nobody that is finishing primary school at age 16 and then just starts working. It's like almost everyone, no matter what kind of standard, simple job they are going to work at, they are still kind of funneled into extra education. They spend years of their lives getting useless degrees, maybe even a lot of college debt on top of that, and then they get a job. Whereas if a 40-year-old man was going to get that job, he would just apply for the job, get the job, go to work, done. He's not pissing away 5 years of his life to get a degree. No, it's just get the job and work. That's it. But when it comes to young kids that are around 16 years old, they are being sent into those indoctrination camps, wasting their time. I'm not saying all degrees and all extra education, all extra schools is a scam. It's not. But a lot of it is. Let me just take a few quotes from The Matrix, a few quotes by Morpheus, and you can kind of see if some of these would be a description of the 9 to 5 rat race. There is a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. Morpheus. The Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. Now, I'm not saying that the system of being an employee or how the world works, where most people are employees. I'm not saying that whole system is our enemy, but maybe some of the system when it comes to how most people get into a lot of debt, like they have student loans, big car loans, and big mortgages on houses, and maybe also credit cards on top of that, where that path like that is so normal, and not having any extra sources of income, no other streams of income than being employed as a job. If we take that as the system, yeah, maybe that system is our enemy. Maybe it doesn't mean there has to be something wrong with being an employee, but being an employee as the only source of income and also having a lot of debt where you're kind of locked into a 30-year mortgage where you're almost just treading water financially for 30 years to pay for a box to live in. Yeah, that system might be our enemy. The thing is, when it comes to being an employee, of course, there are many ways to go about that as well. Welcome to the real world, Morpheus. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. That's also a quote by Morpheus. Without my stuttering though, but yeah. Here's a classic one. You take the blue pill, the story ends, you wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Morpheus. The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this. The Matrix is everywhere. It's all around us. Even now, in this very room, you can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work. And then a bit later, he continues. When you pay your taxes, it is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth that you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, into a prison that you cannot taste or see or touch, a prison for your mind. Morpheus. Born a slave. You know, some people call a job jail of boss. That job is an acronym for jail of boss. It doesn't have to be that way. But when it comes to being trapped inside the matrix of the 9 to 5 rat race, a big part of that being trapped is oftentimes a lot of debt, a lot of loans, mortgages, stuff like that. You know, the Bible says in Proverbs 22:7, the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. the borrower is slave to the lender. Okay, so the Bible says that the borrower is slave to the lender. Yeah, maybe that's what's happening a lot these days. No, I don't think, to me, it's not clear that the Bible is always negative and against loans, because it says in the parable of the talents that the one guy that got 1 talent and didn't use it, he was told that he could at least have borrowed it out to the lenders so that they could have used it and he could have gotten it back with interest. It says something like that. So to me, it seems like in some cases, loans can be okay, even according to the Bible, which is very strict on it. So yeah. And Robert Kiyosaki, he talks about good debt versus bad debt, and he's kind of explaining it where bad debt is things that take money out of your pocket every month, like a house or a car, stuff like that. Where good debt is debt that you're using to buy an asset, something that is putting money inside your pocket every month. So basically, debt that you're using to generate an income, not just increase in value, because according to Robert Kiyosaki, you can use debt to buy your own house, a mortgage, but it's not generating income. A lot of people will say, yeah, but it's increasing in value. Yeah, it's increasing in value, oftentimes, not always, but even if it's increasing in value, it's still not an asset. It's a liability because it's costing you money every month. You have to pay for the mortgage, insurance, electricity, water, or whatever, maintenance. So yeah. Want to escape the matrix or the 9 to 5 rat race? So yeah, a big thing, keeping people trapped and making the escape harder is oftentimes loans, debt. But yeah, other than that, if you want to escape, how would you do it? Well, income is the massive hurdle, if you ask me. If you have a solid income, especially if it is an income that is time income, that I mean an income that gives you time income and location independence, meaning it's not just another job, but something that you can do from almost everywhere, then that opens up a lot. And on top of that, if it can also be semi-passive income, where you're working like 1 to 15 hours per week, then it gives even more freedom. So yeah. But what's a great business model for that? Well, when it comes to semi-passive income, one of them I think is email marketing. If you're building an email list, you can promote other people's offers as an affiliate and you get paid a commission per sale. And historically speaking, it looks like email marketing is one of the few business models on the internet that has actually consistently been working pretty much since the origin of the internet and all the way up until today. So that's a fascinating one. And roughly speaking, it's like 2 variables. Build your email list and send emails to your email list. Of course, you might have to find offers and stuff like that, but yeah, roughly speaking, you can do it that way without having to deal a lot with payment processors, customer service, fulfillment, a lot of website and tech stuff. A lot of that you can avoid if you are just running an email newsletter. and sending daily emails. That's one. When it comes to experienced online marketers, they tend to say that there's a rule of thumb, so to speak, when it comes to email marketing, and that is that you should be making at least $1 per month per person on your email list. So for example, if you have 15,000 people on your email list, you should be making at least $15,000 per month on that list. Of course, absolutely no guarantees on that. If the list is stale, if you're not mailing it regularly, or if you're mailing it too often with spammy content, stuff like that, of course you can destroy it. But if you're doing an okay job, they say you should be making at least those numbers. If you're doing a good job, you should be making a lot more than that. And I've heard this said by a lot of online marketers. I'm not an expert myself, but that's one thing I've kept hearing over and over again over the years. When I look back at all the silly mistakes I've made, one thing that I really regret not starting almost immediately when I started to try to make money online was building an email list. Because if I just built that email list up a few months or years into it, I would probably be making 5 to 6 figures in profit per month on that email list, you know. So yeah, and it's a fascinating business model. Pretty few variables into it, so you could literally be sitting at a coffee shop with your little MacBook Air and send out an email to your list, and yeah, your work for the day was done. Maybe you were also building your list. Maybe you had an ad campaign or something like that, or you were also building and growing your list. But yeah, and a lot of people that have an email newsletter, they're not writing emails every day. Oftentimes they're kind of batching it, where they're writing a bunch of emails and scheduling it. So maybe they're scheduling it for a week or maybe even longer, and those emails are automatically being sent out, one email per day, with an email autoresponder, something like that. So yeah, that's fascinating. With a business model like that, you could literally be making money from the rainforest. Just bring your laptop and some Starlink internet, something like that, and you could, as long as you could write and send those emails and build that list. But when you already have built the list, you don't have to build the list all the time. But yeah, those things could pretty much do from almost anywhere. It's definitely location independence, and it being so few variables, and historically speaking, it being so reliable as well. It's fascinating and might be really suitable for a lifestyle business or as a form of semi-passive income. I actually wrote an ebook about 10 real life success stories I found about people that were working about 2 to 15 hours per week with email marketing and making a full-time income. Full-time income, like 4 to 6 figures in profit per month. And by the time this podcast episode goes live, you might be able to find that ebook if I get the landing page ready. If you go to incomeautopilotsuccessstories.com, and you can get it for free. But yeah, Like I said, I'm not an expert at it, but I found some real life success stories, so it is possible. Another, I have to mention that as well when it comes to email marketing. It's something you can do while still having a job. So you can start it as a side hustle as they call it, and gradually grow it. And then once the email list is big enough until you have a solid income, then if you want, then you can change from being an employee to being an entrepreneur or online marketer or email newsletter writer or digital nomad or whatever you want to call it, but having a full-time income online. The thing is, with a lot of ways to make money online, people talk a lot about freedom, but oftentimes what ends up happening is that people kind of create their own little rat race where they're working like crazy. They quit their 9 to 5 job and started a 7 to 12 job instead. Things like that. So if you want that freedom part where you want a lot of free time, it doesn't have to mean you're lazy. I'm not promoting idleness. Hard work is good, laziness is bad. That being said, maybe you want to have that freedom part where at least during periods, maybe a few weeks, sometimes a couple of months from time to time, you want to have a lot of freedom so that you can have passive or semi-passive income, at least from time to time. Then I think you should think a lot about the business model that you choose. So yeah, email marketing I think is one, especially email affiliate marketing. And another one is paid communities. Paid communities is really gaining a lot of popularity these days, and I don't think it's just a short-term fad. It's really trending now, but I don't think it's a short-term fad. I think it's truly something that is here to stay long-term. And the way most people seems to be building these online communities, it is as a subscription business, a membership business where people are paying per month to be a member. And it being a subscription business, it's a lot more predictable than other business models. And if you do a good job and people really like the community, they really like the community, but also you doing a good job at choosing the right community to build, where it makes sense that they are going to be a member long term, where there is some kind of recurring problem, recurring need, recurring desire, some kind of recurring reason for them to stay a member long term. If you do that, you can basically launch your community, and as you just get a few dozen members to a few hundred members, and you can have a 5-figure profit per month lifestyle business or a cash cow. I'm actually in the process of interviewing 30 people about their real life success story of making at least $10,000 profit per month by running a paid community. So far, I've just interviewed a few of them at the time of this recording in early December 2024. But yeah, it's been wildly fascinating, inspiring, and exciting because I thought it would be amazing. I was really excited about doing these interviews, but then I was doing them and I was even more impressed than my high expectations already were. And one of the things that really shocked me was how quickly several of these people were doing it. It's like they got the idea for doing it and they launched it, and boom, like a few short weeks afterwards, they already were at 5 figures in profit per month. Exciting stuff, and it can be launched almost for free. It doesn't require a lot of variables or a lot of tech stuff. So yeah. Do I have my calculator here? Let me see. I said you only need a few dozen members to a few hundred. If you read the essay by the 1000 True Fans by Kevin Kelly, he talks about how you don't need millions of followers or millions of fans to make a full-time income. All you need is 1000 true fans. And in many ways, it's really accurate. 1000 true fans, or like 10, 15,000 people on your email list. Let's say 48, if you had 48 members in your paid community, and if it was a bit more high ticket one, and if you charge $300 per month times 48, that's $14,400 per month. So yeah, that's over $10,000 profit, probably, because it is high profit margin on running a paid community. It doesn't cost much in fulfillment. Maybe you decide to use paid ads and a VA to help with some stuff, but other than that, it's high margin. High margin. There are even paid communities charging $1,000 per month, or even more than that as well. And then, of course, if $1,000 per month, like 15 people, and you already have a full-time income or 5 figures in profit per month. So yeah, let's say if you're pricing it lower, let's say you're pricing it at $50 per month. If you have 300 members, that's $15,000 per month. That should be way over $10,000 in profit per month. So yeah, 48 to 300 members, or 15 to 300 members. Or if you have 1,000 members, then you can sell it for like $15, 15,000. So yeah, you don't need that many members in order for it to be a full-time income. And if you choose it correctly when it comes to the niche category or industry where you are building that paid community, getting 15 to 300 members really isn't it's not really that unrealistic, making tens of millions of dollars. Yeah, it can be done with some communities, but that's higher numbers. The lady I interviewed about her paid community, she has made quite a few $1 million, I guess, by now, because she has about a few weeks ago when I interviewed her, she had something like, I think it was around 42,000 members paying her $47 per month. She has the highest, the biggest paid community on the school platform in the business category, Michelle O'Neill. So yeah, it is possible to make millions with a paid community, but if you only need to escape the matrix of the 9 to 5 rat race, you don't really need that many members for it to generate at least a full-time income. So that's exciting. And when the numbers is that low, you can even message people one by one, contacting people one-on-one, like sending direct messages, emails, phone calls, showing up physically even in some cases. Because when it comes to paid communities, I see there's a lot of hype around Skool these days. Skool.com, I think it's hyped up. At the same time, I don't think paid communities is hyped up, but the way the school platform is hyped up in one way is kind of where it's kind of treated like an online course or like a fancy way to do an online course. I think paid communities, it's so much more than that. So it might be both overhyped in one sense and underhyped. It's kind of a bit strange what's happening to the school platform. But paid communities, it's not just about school. There's a lot of platforms out there for running a paid community. So don't get stuck on what you see happening on school. There's a lot more to it. But yeah, my point is there's a lot of niches out there where a paid community would be absolutely amazing for people to be a member of, but it basically doesn't exist. Maybe they have some kind of offline clubs or networks or events, but when it comes to an online paid community that people can be a member in many categories or niches, it basically doesn't exist. And you can extrapolate this out to, yeah, so many things. Maybe even car washes. Is there a paid community for owners of car washes? Maybe you could make a paid community for those. Maybe you could find a list of all the owners of car washes in America. You could send them a cold email or something like that, or maybe advertise to them with a lookalike audience on Facebook. Anyways, promote that community to those people, to the owners of those car washes, and you could sell a membership to owners of car washes, and then they could kind of mastermind and give each other advice for how they are doing the marketing, how they go about getting referrals, getting happy customers, stuff like that. They can give each other advice for how they are running a car wash profitably. That's maybe a poor example, but it's one idea. If you look at other more follow the money, as they say. So if you look at kind of bigger business things like rental real estate investors, high net worth individuals, owners of 8-figure companies, 9-figure companies. Yeah, there's a lot of options that way. We can look at high net worth individuals. And you can also look at businesses or industries where a lot of money is kind of circulating or passing through, like real estate brokers, maybe things like that. So yeah, if you look at it that way, I'm just mentioning a few here, but when you see it that way, there's literally thousands of examples where a paid community could be brilliant. Let's say for the car wash example, if there are, I don't know how many, if there are 50,000 car washes, for those of them that have many car washes, maybe there are entrepreneurs out there that have like 5 to 50 car washes each. Do you think those would be interested in being a member in a paid community where car wash owners keep nerding and talking about how they are doing things with their car wash, how they are having campaigns on the local radio and gaining 700 new monthly customers, stuff like that? Probably. And you don't need that many of them in order for it to be 5 figures in profit per month for you. And for those owners, just one little small advice from any of the other owners inside, for any of the other car wash owners inside, or other members, one small advice might already make them like 10x ROI on what it costs them to be a member per year, you know? So yeah. But yeah, if you want to learn from those real life success stories of the paid community owners that I've interviewed, you should check out communitycashcows.com. Maybe you decide to try to build your own cash cow, you know, your own community cash cow. And if you join the community, you can also connect with a bunch of other people that are also building paid communities. So yeah, check it out on communitycashcows.com. All right, take care and God bless.